Part 4. Sunlight through Aspen. The Inexorable Path to Liberty. Chapter 1. The Shimmering Threshold of the Journey. The moment Alara stepped out from the dense, comforting shade of the mossy cradle, she entered a realm of pure definition and kinetic light. The forest's edge served not as a casual boundary, but as the ceremonial starting line of her arduous self-imposed quest. The air was charged with a palpable, expectant energy mirrored by the flora around her. The leaves of the ubiquitous aspen trees began their frantic dance. The leaves began to shimmer in the sun, catching the light in rapid alternating flashes of silver and deep green. This nervous, relentless motion was more than a botanical phenomenon. It was a nervous motion that the light creates, reflecting the turbulent yet determined energy churning within Alara's soul, the final flicker of anxiety giving way to the sheer adrenaline of irreversible action. The gentle alpine summer day had officially commenced. The air was cool, yet infused with the growing warmth that promised sustained effort. The gentle summer day has just begun, and all nature surrounding her seemed to hum with the vital, forward-looking energy of growth. It was at this crucial interface that Alara stands beside the river gates. The river gates was not a man-made structure, but a naturally occurring narrowing wear. The small path first aligned itself with the steady course of the water she had studied. This location was profoundly symbolic. She was not merely beginning a hike. She was committing to the flow she had spent her life observing. She stood on the precipice between theory, the map, and the river's language and practice, the mountain's unforgiving reality. Her sturdy boots were planted firmly on the earth, but her gaze was already pulled upward by the light toward the mountain's looming presence. The omniscient narrator recognized the profound internal conflict being resolved within her. Her heart was swelling with anticipation, yet a residual tremor, the ghost of the peace she had left behind, vibrated through her. This trembling found its perfect analogue in the aspen's relentless shimmer. She knew this moment was the point of no return. The grand solemnity of the departure was heightened by the very clarity of the day, demanding total honesty of intent. Chapter 2. The Rhythmic Architecture of Intent. As she prepared her first committed step, the internal music of her being intensified and completely shifted its tone. It was no longer the deep grounding cello or the ethereal wavering flute. The finger-picked guitar takes up the theme, immediately establishing a new emotional architecture. The pattern was a fast repeating pattern, clean and bright. This music possessed zero shadow, zero hesitation. It was a rapid-fire cascade of sound that represented pure, unadulterated will. This theme effortlessly captures every hope within her dream, not in vague sentiment, but in precise, rhythmic detail, effectively painting her entire world in the dazzling clarity of gold and silver light. The sonic landscape was transformed into a vision of pure, achievable potential. The technical precision of the music mirrored her rigorous mental preparation. Each note is clear, defined, and set apart, an astonishing display of focus. The melody was a perfect sequence, played without a flaw, demonstrating the months of meticulous planning and study she had poured into her endeavor. There was no room for error in the execution, just as there could be no room for error in the climb. The steady tempo mirrors a young heart beating not merely with life, but with purpose. This heart refused to settle for the safe mediocrity of the familiar. It was a heart that seeks the world beyond the village law. The village law was not a legal code, but the unspoken social contract of the valley, the law of safety, stasis, and predictable cyclical existence. It was a philosophy of containment. Alara's quest was a rebellion against this soft tyranny. The guitar's crisp, unyielding tempo was the sound of a spirit declaring independence from the collective inertia. She was seeking a reality defined by absolute effort, an absolute consequence, a world where personal law, forged by courage and competence, superseded the inherited laws of the valley. Her soul knew it could no longer be contained, and the music served as the official, rhythmic declaration of her inevitable progression. Chapter 3. The Unwavering Light of Truth. The natural environment provided the ultimate uncompromising affirmation of her decision. The narrow trees stand tall against the blue, their slender vertical stature a constant, silent reflection of her ascent goal. They possess delicate leaves, but their trunks were unyielding and straight. As the sun gained altitude, the long morning shadows stretch and slowly start to fade. The dominion of darkness and doubt was literally receding, announcing the arrival of a time governed by pure, relentless illumination. This light was the central philosophical tenet of the scene. The light is something constant, strong, and true. It was an absolute principle, untouched by the emotional vacillation or environmental ambiguity that characterized the misty credo. This constancy served as a path that through the tangled woods is made. Physically, this was the dappled trail she was to follow, but spiritually, it was the path of truth, forged through the complexity and confusion of her inner life. The light cut through the tangled woods of self-doubt and fear, revealing the way forward with unvarnished honesty. Elara deliberately exposed herself to this solar honesty. She gathers courage from the shining view. The view, saturated with clear light, was brutally honest, displaying the sheer magnitude of the task ahead. Without softening the edges, there was no darkness lingers in this honest place. The forest floor here held no deep, secretive shadows where fear could hide and breed. This transparency was catalytic, allowing the sunlight to show her what she needs to do. The what was no longer an intellectual abstraction. It was a physical, unavoidable reality of ascending the steep, visible slopes. This absolute clarity acted as a purifying agent, wiping the faint uncertainty from her face. Her expression settled into an unbreakable resolve, transforming the final vestiges of youthful confusion into the granite-like certainty of purpose. Chapter 4. The Vow of Kindness and the Final Steps. The sensation of the sun on her back was both a physical comfort and a profound ethical reminder. The warmth that falls upon her sturdy cloak reminds her of the kindness she must keep. Her quest was not merely the singular pursuit of personal symmetry, it was bound by a larger responsibility. Her success must not come at the expense of others, or by sacrificing the empathy that defined her humanity. The sturdy cloak shielding her from the mountain's inevitable cold became a symbol of the compassion that must shield her heart from the coldness of ambition. Within this warmth, the memory of her commitment surged forward. The silent vow that she herself had spoke returned to her consciousness. It was a vow made when the world was indifferent, while other souls were deep in sleep, a promise made in absolute solitude, free from the desire for praise or external witness. The vow was simple but profound, to use the extraordinary capacity she was about to forge to serve some greater good, or, at the very least, to cause no harm. This solemn commitment provided an ethical keel to her personal ambition, giving her forward momentum, moral gravity, and making her steps infinitely more solid. The musical rhythm, which had been so intensely fast, began its final deliberate deceleration. The rhythmic picking starts to slow its pace. This was not a faltering, but the conscious transition from the high-energy frequency of preparation to the controlled, enduring tempo of execution. The music slowed to a cadence that matched her resolute steps. As the tempo recedes, she takes final steps away from rest. The time for stillness and introspection was definitively over. She turned, performing the ultimate symbolic act. She turns her back upon the sheltered space, the safe predictable confines of the valley and the village law, to meet the challenge of the coming quest. The sunlight illuminated the path ahead, and Elara, the observer transformed into the pilgrim, began her long rhythmic ascent into the challenging world of herself, made destiny.